Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar titled Unlocking Trade and Investment Opportunities in ASEAN, Economic Priorities under Malaysia's 2025 Chairship. Ramadan Mubarak to you who are fasting, and we wish this month will bring you a lot of blessings. We are delighted to have you join us today for what promises to be an engaging and insightful session. My name is Rahma Anggraini. I am the Advocacy Manager of Canada-ASEAN Business Council, and I will be your MC for today's event. This webinar is held in partnership with the mission of Canada to ASEAN and with the support of ASEAN Business Advisory Council. And this webinar today brings together distinguished speakers and experts who will share their perspective on how ASEAN can continue to enhance its trade and investment climate in the year ahead, particularly under Malaysia Chairmanship of ASEAN in 2025. And before we begin, I would like to express our gratitude to our distinguished speakers for taking the time to share their expertise, as well as to all of you for being part of important conversation. We hope that today's discussion will help you better understand the priorities, opportunities, and strategies that are shaping ASEAN's economic future and the role that ASEAN and Canada business can play in this dynamic landscape. And now, to kick things off, it is my pleasure to introduce Wayne Farmer, the President of Canada-ASEAN Business Council. He will be sharing a few words to welcome all of you and set the tone for today's discussions. So, Wayne Farmer, over to you.
Thanks, Rama. Good morning, everyone from Bangkok today, actually, where I am. But on behalf of the Canada-ASEAN Business Council, I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's webinar, hosted in partnership with the mission of Canada to ASEAN and supported by the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. The economic relations between ASEAN and Canada continue to grow, driven by increasing trade, investment, and collaboration across diverse sectors, paving the way for continued opportunities and mutual prosperity. Since 2021, ASEAN has been Canada's fourth largest merchandise trading partner, and in 2023, two-way trade between ASEAN and Canada reached more than US $20 billion, while Canadian investment in ASEAN amounted to USD $3 billion, a 300% increase compared to 2022. Currently, as we all know, the global economic landscape is marked by uncertainty, with shifting markets, supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical tensions. As a result, more Canadian businesses are looking to diversify and waking up to the need to diversify. And ASEAN, as one of the fastest growing regions in the world, is attracting significant interest. Our 2024 business sentiment outlook revealed that more than 86.7% of Canadian businesses believe ASEAN will gain importance in the global economy over the next 5 years compared to other economic regions. More than 80% of surveyed businesses plan to increase their trade and investment in ASEAN. This positive sentiment was reflected when the Government of Canada conducted a trade mission to Indonesia and the Philippines last December, with over 300 participants, making it the largest trade mission led by Canada and one of the biggest bilateral events in its history. Noting that this was preceded by a similar trade mission to Vietnam and Malaysia earlier in the year, and a trade delegation that just went to Brunei a week or so ago. This is why the CABC is committed to consistently promoting awareness about opportunities in ASEAN to Canadian businesses and fostering business linkages between Canada and ASEAN companies. We hold this webinar today to explore the evolving landscape of ASEAN and gain valuable insight into the region's priorities, including key economic deliverables for this year, especially under Malaysia's chairmanship, which is under the theme of inclusivity and sustainability. We are excited to deeper understanding of ASEAN's economic priorities and explore how Canadian business can support Malaysia's priorities as inclusivity and sustainability closely align with Canada's strengths, in which Canada has a global reputation for excellence. This webinar is also part of a bigger collaboration with ASEAN-BAC, which we signed last January at the sideline of the 25th Joint Business Council meeting in Penang. We are pleased to support the ASEAN-BAC's priorities in 2025, including its upcoming roadshow to Canada in May and the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit in October 2025. The CABC will continue to organize important events throughout the year to contribute to this growing relationship. And then on Thursday, we will hold a stakeholder engagement session along the ASEAN-Canada Free Trade Agreement negotiation session in Jakarta to provide a platform for Canada and ASEAN businesses to offer feedback and support to the trade negotiating teams on the ongoing dialogue they're having. In September, the CABC will hold our flagship Canada-ASEAN Business and Investment Forum alongside the ASEAN Economic Ministers Meeting and the ASEAN Energy Ministers Meeting in KL, Malaysia. This flagship event will serve as a premier platform to foster dialogue, collaboration, and partnerships between Canada and ASEAN businesses across sectors critical to the Canada-ASEAN trade and investment corridor, including investment, financial investment, energy transition, agriculture, agribusiness, the digital economy, and infrastructure. For more information about the forum, please do get in touch with the CABC team. A big thank you to our esteemed speakers and, of course, to all of you for joining us here today. We hope today's discussion will spark new ideas, foster closer relationships, collaboration between Canada and ASEAN. With that, let's dive into today's session. Thank you, Rama.
Thank you, Wayne. And before we move to the next part, I would like to remind everyone that our session today is recorded because we will republish this in our social media to ensure more people are benefiting from these sessions. And later, after all the briefings from the speakers, we will also have the Q&A sessions. And next, I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, Her Excellency Vicky Singmin, the Ambassador of Canada to ASEAN. Ambassador Singmin will share welcoming remarks as a showcase of her support to this webinar and to Malaysia Chairship year. Your Excellency, Ambassador Vicky, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Rama, and a very good morning to all of our friends in ASEAN, and bonsoir à nos collègues au Canada. It's my pleasure to be here to join this webinar today. You can tell I'm in my car. A lot of traffic in Jakarta this morning, but delighted to be part of this important event. Huge thanks to the Canada-ASEAN Business Council for organizing this important webinar, and of course to the ASEAN Business Advisory Council for your important support as well. Je suis ravie de me joindre à un groupe d'orateurs et de participants si distingués pour discuter des priorités économiques dans le cadre de la présidence malaisienne de l'ANAP en 2025. I'd like to extend my gratitude to Her Excellency Sarah Albacre Davidson, Permanent Representative of Malaysia to ASEAN, and to Mr. Tan Sri Nazir Razak, Chair of ASEAN-BAC 2025, for their presence and their valuable insights that they'll share with everyone today. Your leadership and your vision really are instrumental in shaping the future of Malaysia, of ASEAN, and the regional economic landscape. Malaysia's ASEAN Chairship comes at a pivotal time for the region and for our global community. As our Prime Minister said at the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit hosted by ASEAN-BAC in October last year, it is an exciting moment for ASEAN as the fastest growing economy in the world. Progress made this year will help shepherd greater inclusivity and sustainability. Of course, these are Malaysia's cherished themes for this year, as well as greater integration and resiliency in both ASEAN and Canada's economy. Canada stands unwavering in its support and its enthusiasm for Malaysia as it embarks on its ASEAN Chairship. We're committed to collaborating closely with Malaysia and all ASEAN member states to advance our shared economic goals and to strengthen our strategic partnership. At the ASEAN-Canada Special Summit in October, Prime Minister Trudeau indicated that Canada would bring ASEAN voices to the table at our 2025 G7 presidency. That's why you see many of Canada's G7 priorities align with those of ASEAN under Malaysia's 2025 chairship, be it inclusive economic growth, regional stability, and the digital economy. These initiatives will undoubtedly have a profound impact on bilateral and regional trade, innovation, and business relations. As we look forward to learning about Malaysia's priority economic deliverables from Ambassador Farah, I'm pleased to share Canada's trade and economic priorities with ASEAN. One of Canada's top priorities, as it is for ASEAN, is substantively concluding the ASEAN-Canada Free Trade Agreement this year. We see immense opportunities arising from this agreement, including increased market access for Canadian businesses, enhanced trade and investment flows, the creation of new jobs and economic growth in both Canada and ASEAN. This agreement will serve as a cornerstone for our economic partnership, fostering closer ties and mutual prosperity. Additionally, Canada is expanding our engagement with ASEAN in critical sectors such as energy transition, digital transformation, and food security. In light of ASEAN's increasing energy needs and interest in the energy sector, Canada is keen to increase energy cooperation with ASEAN, to help member states meet their climate targets. The work of the Canada-ASEAN Business Council in this area is commendable. In the last few months, you hosted the inaugural Canada-ASEAN Energy Transition Summit in November, a nuclear energy capacity building symposium just last month, and we signed an MOU with the ASEAN Center on Energy. We encourage the CABC and its members to continue engaging in this sector to support ASEAN in its path to sustainable and resilient energy systems. Building a digitally resilient ASEAN is one of the 4 strategic thrusts for Malaysia this year. It aligns with Canada's intention to join the ASEAN Digital Senior Officials Meeting, as signaled by Prime Minister Trudeau last year. Canada, with its expertise in frontier technologies, digital governance, and skills development, is a ready partner to support ASEAN's ambitions in this space. Canadian businesses like BlackBerry have seen the opportunities in this sector, and they're already investing in their presence in ASEAN. Furthermore, our focus on food security, agriculture, and agri-food will help ensure a stable and secure food supply for the region. The CABC has also been working closely with our Indo-Pacific Agriculture and Agri-Food Office to deliver webinars to business audiences, including on halal market opportunities in Southeast Asia, investment opportunities in Canada, and an upcoming session on agri-tech innovation. We can all recognize the importance of innovation and technology in these and other emerging sectors in driving economic growth. Today's webinar provides an excellent platform for open dialogue between ASEAN and Canadian business leaders, sharing insights and opportunities, and identify ways to encourage increased business and trade between our markets. It is through such engagement that we can build stronger partnerships and foster greater collaboration. I look forward to hearing from our esteemed speakers, and thank you again to the CABC for organizing this event and for their continued efforts in promoting Canada-ASEAN relations. Je suis certaine que les discussions d'aujourd'hui ouvriront la voie à de nouvelles opportunités et à des liens économiques plus forts entre nos régions. Thank you very much. Merci. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Singmin, for your remarks. And we are now delighted to hear from another distinguished speakers, Her Excellency Ambassador Datin Sarah Al-Bakri Devadason, the permanent representative of Malaysia to ASEAN. Ambassador Sarah will now brief us on Malaysia's priorities under its 2025 chairship year of ASEAN. Ambassador Sarah, we are eager to hear your visions for ASEAN economic and trade agenda in the year ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Angriani. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Her Excellency Vicky Singmin, Ambassador of Canada to ASEAN, Tan Sri Nazir Razak, Chairman of Chair of ASEAN Business Advisory Council, Mr. Wayne Farmer, President of Canada-ASEAN Business Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I wish to thank the Canada-ASEAN Business Council for inviting me to this session. This presents a great opportunity for both CABC and Malaysia, as we are at the crucial juncture in moving ASEAN ahead through Malaysia's chairmanship of ASEAN this year. Let me begin my presentation by sharing our insights on Malaysia's ASEAN 2025 chairmanship, with a focus on Malaysia's priorities as well as key initiatives for advancing regional economic integration. Malaysia has chosen the theme Inclusivity and Sustainability. The theme reflects our commitment to shared progress, ensuring no one is left behind. It underscores Malaysia's conviction that ASEAN is committed to strengthening regional peace, stability, and prosperity within an inclusive, sustainable, and future-oriented framework. In this regard, if I may highlight that during our chairmanship, Malaysia will work with ASEAN member states and external partners, including Canada, on 3 broad priority areas. These areas are, firstly, strengthening regional peace, stability, and security by promoting strategic trust among nations through sustained dialogues, diplomacy, and goodwill. Working together with member states, Malaysia seeks to enhance ASEAN's partnerships with those beyond our borders. In the shifting global strategic environment, ASEAN must forge a cooperative regional order built on a culture of pragmatism and peaceful coexistence. Secondly, Malaysia will work towards pushing for greater intra-ASEAN trade and investment. We will also seek to explore and expand ASEAN economic partnerships beyond the region. In this connection, ASEAN will leverage on advances in sciences, technology and innovation, as well as harness the benefits of digital transformation and new technologies. And thirdly, Malaysia will ensure that the elements of inclusivity and sustainability take center stage in our region, in our community building efforts. This will entail greater efforts at narrowing the development gap, enhancing living standards, and addressing the impact of climate change to foster development, growth, and prosperity for the benefit of all segments of society. Under our chairmanship in 2025, the ASEAN Vision 2045 will be adopted, which is aimed at forging ahead regional community building agenda for the next 2 decades. The vision will be another milestone document for ASEAN as it seeks to chart the future direction of ASEAN. The vision, in essence, is set to elevate ASEAN to become more resilient, innovative, dynamic, and people-centered. It will also guide ASEAN in taking a more effective and innovative response to existing future megatrends, while strengthening ASEAN's centrality. Externally, it also seeks to position ASEAN as a more effective global player that can contribute positively to global development. As an overview, today ASEAN is a major economic powerhouse boasting a combined GDP of $3.8 trillion and a population of 680 million, making it the world's 5th largest economy. Our intra-ASEAN exports in 2023 was standing at almost 23%, signifying our strong collaborative commitment to integrate our economies to become a single market and production base. It is ASEAN's key commitment to advance its vision to become an increasingly interconnected and highly networked region and deeply integrated to the global economy. In this spirit, ASEAN's trading partners, including Canada, play a critical role in supporting the region's economic growth and stability, and are equally significant for ASEAN's economic interests. With regard to ASEAN's position in the global economic order, ASEAN's efforts in the pursuit of regional economic integration began in the 1990s, where we embarked on the Common Effective Preferential Tariff, CEPT scheme. The CEPT acts as a framework for the agreement of the ASEAN Free Trade Area. This framework has been updated to the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, ATIGA, and forms the backbone for supporting the ASEAN Economic Community Blueprint. As a united bloc, ASEAN can contribute and navigate the pathway on the emerging megatrends, including supply chain security, particularly in light of trade and geopolitical tensions, with a focus on critical sectors such as electronics, semiconductors, and renewable energy. In addition, ASEAN is strategically positioned to lead in the global digital economy, leveraging its collective technological strengths and market potential. Strengthening partnerships with key trading nations will build ASEAN's economic resilience and elevate ASEAN's economic standing. This, in turn, will benefit the region and the global market. Allow me next to share Malaysia's 2025 priority economic deliverables. Malaysia's Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry, MITI, is proactively steering the economic agenda for Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship in 2025. It is currently formulating a comprehensive list of priority economic deliverables aimed at advancing key regional economic initiatives to promote deeper integration and cooperation among ASEAN member states. The PEDs cover diverse areas such as digital transformation, sustainable development, trade facilitation, finance, tourism, energy cooperation, agriculture, and minerals. These PEDs are structured around 4 core strategic thrusts as follows: enhancing trade and investment, which focuses on strengthening the intra-ASEAN market and engagement with strategic trading partners. Next, it's creating an inclusive and sustainable pathway, which aligns with global priorities by addressing the green agenda, sustainable investment, climate financing, energy security, supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises, and advancing food security within ASEAN. The next thrust is promoting integration and connectivity of economies. This recognizes that the strategic importance of semiconductor industry within the region, emphasizing collaboration over competition among ASEAN member states, especially in light of favorable geopolitical dynamics. Next is with regard to building a digitally resilient ASEAN. This highlights the necessity of adapting to the digital era, including work on the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework, DEFA, tech startups, artificial intelligence and digital payment, ensuring that ASEAN remains competitive and aligned with global technological advancements. These strategic thrusts are aligned with the ASEAN Community Vision 2045 and the AEC Strategic Plan, aimed at economic integration and the long-term resilience of the ASEAN community. The overarching objective is to foster a cohesive and sustainable ASEAN community capable of thriving areas with regard to advancing the ASEAN-Canada trade investment. ASEAN welcomes the continuous support by Canada in the area of trade and investment promotion, as well as capacity building initiatives. We value the cooperation rendered in supporting the micro, small and medium enterprises development across ASEAN for mutual benefit towards regional and global economic integration. Malaysia believes that the direct dialogue between CABC and economic ministers through the annual AEM Canada consultations will promote greater visibility and impactful discussions on trade and investment. We hope for more collaboration between CABC and ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ASEAN-BAC, as we continue to work together in promoting ASEAN-Canada relations, particularly through hosting a series of high-level impactful events. Malaysia also appreciates the input provided by the Canadian private sector throughout various engagements, dialogues and consultations, which will lead to closer strategic ties between public-private partnerships of ASEAN and Canada. We are glad that Canada is a strong advocate of sustainability and digital information. These two areas are the areas of interest for ASEAN and is very much aligned to Malaysia's priorities and PEDs for 2025. Malaysia has presented to the ASEAN economic ministers the list of 18 priority deliverables under Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship. 9 of the PEDs are under the purview of the ASEAN economic ministers and the ASEAN Senior Economic Officials meeting. You may see here, this is the list of PEDs that are under the AEM and SOM. So the PEDs have been carefully and thoroughly selected by Malaysia, and we aspire to yield the targeted outcomes which are impactful and indeed will contribute to economic integration. It also provides a robust opportunity for the region to address pressing issues, megatrends and emerging trends. Each strategic thrust will provide an opportunity for cooperation, collaboration, and most importantly, the ability to respond to the current megatrends and the vision that ASEAN will need to achieve by 2045 under the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. As a strategic thrust 1 provides vigorous opportunities for ASEAN to enhance and strengthen its core strategic thrusts, 2, 3, and 4 offers prospects for greater collaboration to achieve both ASEAN and Canada endeavours, especially in the areas of interest. The recent, if I may elaborate a little bit on the outcome of a recent meeting, which is the 31st ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat, it deliberated and endorsed the 2025 PEDs under Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship and hopes to attain the support of external partners, including Canada. And we believe that cooperation and collaboration with Canada, including the CABC, is important in implementing the PEDs. On behalf of Malaysia, I hope to see that both ASEAN and Canada initiatives can be aligned and would complement each other's efforts in further deepening economic and investment ties. As the JDTI 2021 to 2025 will come to an end this year. We highly hope and anticipate that the preparations for the next JDTI will take into account the initiatives of stakeholders, including CABC and ASEAN-BAC. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I hope that this presentation is useful in providing a general idea of Malaysia's priorities for its chairmanship in 2025. Canada and CABC's continued support is very much appreciated, and we look forward to welcoming the Canadian delegation to Malaysia in the course of our chairmanship. Thank you very much, and I hope we'll have a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sarah, for your valuable briefing. Malaysia's leadership in 2025 is truly exciting, and we are grateful for your guidance on ASEAN priorities in the coming year. And we are also very excited when you mentioned about the direct dialogue between CABC and the AEM. Indeed, it has been a very valuable platform for CABC to bring the business leaders from Canada to have like direct consultations with the ASEAN economic ministers and also the ministers from Canada. We really hope that we could continue this direct engagement this year and also in the coming years. And yeah, so now we now look forward to our next speakers, who needs no introductions because it's Tan Sri Nazir Azad, the chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council 2025. Tan Sri Nazir will share the program and priorities of ASEAN-BAC under ASEAN-BAC Malaysia's chairship in 2025. Tan Sri Nazir, we are honored to have you with us today, so the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Rama, and good morning, everyone. Ambassador Vicky Singmin, Ambassador Sarah, and Mr. Wayne Farmer. Thank you, CABC, for this opportunity to say a few words. I won't repeat many of the great things that were said earlier. But just to comment on what Wayne mentioned about the current moment, pivotal time indeed for ASEAN. I would just like to say that I'm actually quite optimistic about ASEAN in this current time. Firstly, I think global economic fragmentation is an opportunity. It's a challenge, but challenges also come with opportunities. Secondly, I think that I have never in my time working on the ASEAN platform seen a collection of leaders of ASEAN countries that are internationalists, from our Anwar Ibrahim to Prabowo to Marcos. These are all internationalist leaders, so I think they are very pro-ASEAN. You've seen many times in the past where we've had leaders who are in rhetoric pro-ASEAN, but in action half skeptical of ASEAN, to be honest. And I think this time, I think we have serious alignment amongst the leaders, and I expect that to result in actions. The third reason why I'm optimistic is because ASEAN has actually learned some very good lessons about how to make things happen. ASEAN in the past has promised too much, delivered too little. And I think this time round, we have learned not to overpromise and try to focus on execution. If we look at the ASEAN Economic Community 2015, it really I think we overdid it in promising a single production base, free movement of people and so on and so forth. That was not a realistic ambition. Now realism has come into the ASEAN planning, and I think that's better for business. We should guide business with realistic targets so that businesses can plan properly. And relatedly, in this global environment where people are raising higher walls, I think what ASEAN needs to do is extend its negotiating tables. And with that, Malaysia is really pushing ahead with engaging more deeply with other regions. I look forward to, of course, the free trade agreement with Canada, but we also have this highlight event of an ASEAN GCC China summit, possibly in May this year, and at the ASEAN-BAC level also we intend on going around the world and engaging more parts of the world. And Wayne did mention that I do hope to be in Canada in mid-year this year, and hope to see many of you when I'm there. For today, I will just, in the interest of time, we do want to hear some questions later, just zero in on the priorities of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council for 2025. Every year, ABAC's job is really to move the dial on ASEAN economic integration. So this year, we are focused on 12 projects. We call 12 legacy projects, which are more substantive in long term, and then 6 legacy projects and 6 initiatives. That's how we divide them, and these are very much in line with the our Ministry of Trade's economic deliverables. Now, if I can have the slide on our priorities, please. The next one. Next one. This is just our theme this year of unifying markets for shared prosperity. That's consistent with the government's theme of inclusivity and sustainability, but focusing on unifying markets. Yeah, the next slide. So these are priorities for 2025. The top 6 are legacy projects, which are more substantive and long-term. The other 6 are initiatives, and I'll go through them very, very quickly. On the top left is the notion of asking our governments to introduce the classification of ASEAN business entities. The argument here is that ASEAN was unable to achieve the free movement of people, free movement of goods and services and skilled labor that was promised in 2015. But yet at the same time, we do want to see ASEAN as a 700 million people economy and not 10 fragmented markets. So how do we do this? How do we square the circle? Well, we create this classification of ASEAN business entities, and we provide them those enablers for business without having then to provide free movement of people, etc., at the national level, which is politically not possible. So this is a way, I think, of really delivering on this attraction of ASEAN being a 700 million people market. So for multinationals, if you are classified as an ASEAN business entity in Malaysia, say, then you should be able to move your ASEAN staff from other countries into Malaysia freely. You should be able to outsource your operations to different parts of ASEAN freely. So that is the idea behind this ABE. It is a innovative way, and it's of course complicated to execute, but ASEAN-BAC is pushing extremely hard, and we really hope to gain progress on this whole concept. This is, to repeat, we hope that it's applicable to all multinationals and not just ASEAN multinationals. The second project that we're working on is on the ASEAN Capital Markets Initiative. This is about enhancing intra-ASEAN capital flows. The argument here is there's too little capital in private markets in ASEAN. There's too much of a focus on public markets, and we have come up with recommendations on how our governments can change policies and facilitate the growth of ASEAN private markets industry. And of course, this will be relevant to the Canadian pension funds as they look at how to access the ASEAN markets. The third project is to increase ASEAN capital flows by introducing the notion of an ASEAN IPO prospectus. Here, as you know, 10 different markets, 10 different securities regulators and regulations on fundraising. We think that we should develop this notion of an ASEAN IPO so that if you want to list your company, say, on the KL Stock Exchange, you would then have the option of raising capital by way of a local Malaysian prospectus or an ASEAN prospectus. And if you sign off on an ASEAN prospectus, then you can raise capital from anybody right across the region. The fourth project that we're working on is talent development and mobility. Here, our focus is on moving youth across the region. We accept that there's not going to be free movement of people completely across ASEAN, but why not have a special visa facilitation for the next generation, the future of ASEAN? We want the future of ASEAN to be to have experiences of working in different countries, studying in different countries. So the ask is for ASEAN to allow students who are, say, working, studying in another country to have automatic 2-year work visas, and also to allow companies to move around interns, the young people of their companies, to their operations in other markets. There's a project on the carbon market. Here, we believe we need to evolve a ASEAN common carbon market framework. Malaysia has recently set up its Carbon Markets Association, and we're working closely with Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia to develop this common ASEAN carbon market framework. Finally, we have a project on digital exchange. Here, the view is we will definitely increase trade and growth if we can digitalize trade further. We studied this closely, and we discovered that really the problem is not so much trade between countries, it's trade within countries. Not enough companies in ASEAN embrace digital exchanges. So we developed this digital exchange project in Malaysia. We're encouraging other countries to focus domestically for this year. And then we're also developing proof of concepts between digital platforms between Malaysia and Thailand and Singapore. Another initiative is on the ASEAN AI strategy. Here we're developing national platforms on AI private sector platforms, and we hope that all ASEAN countries develop this so we can create a region-wide platform for us to look at how we can collaborate on AI. On sustainability reporting, we have a project to actually help SMEs in their sustainability reporting. We believe that this is all good, but it's too onerous for our small companies. So we're helping them to simplify this for themselves. We also have an inclusivity collective. Here it's for us to get about 3,000 to 4,000 ASEAN companies to sign off on certain targets in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know in some places in the world this is not so trendy anymore, but we believe it's the right way still. So we want ASEAN companies to embrace SDGs and certain targets in terms of diversity and inclusion. We also are looking at philanthropy. We believe there's not enough corporate philanthropy in ASEAN, and we're working on a project to look at the rules, regulations in each ASEAN country and how to help governments enable corporates to channel more funds for the most needy. We have several projects to enhance the ASEAN identity. We believe that ASEAN doesn't mean enough to ASEAN individuals and ASEAN companies. So we think that the ASEAN brand, ASEAN identity needs to be more pronounced across the region. So we're advocating the rebranding of the Southeast Asian Games to the ASEAN Games. We're developing an ASEAN travel super app so that it's easier for people to once they're in ASEAN to obtain visas, etc., for their movements across the region. And finally, we believe that the work of ASEAN-BAC is not just in policy advocacy and so on. It's also in terms of creating deals. We want to promote deals. We want to help companies do deals across ASEAN. We recently announced a deal between Malaysia, a Malaysian company, and a Singapore company to develop a logistics warehouse. We announced a Malaysian Singapore company, a Filipino company, to develop to grow durians in Philippines. We've also launched the ASEAN Explore travel pass. So these are the kind of things ASEAN-BAC wants to do more of this year. And therefore, we would like to ask all of you, as you look at ASEAN, you want to do deals in ASEAN, you want to meet people in ASEAN, please look at ASEAN-BAC as a resource for you. We are always happy to pick up the phone to introduce you to people. We're always happy to engage with governments to seek their support where necessary for you to do deals here in ASEAN. Gentlemen, those are the priorities for ASEAN-BAC this year. They are in sync with governments, our Malaysian government's priorities. I have presented these to the ASEAN economic ministers and received endorsement for us to pursue these policies, these projects this year. And I concluded my presentation to the ASEAN ministers with the 3 words, which is execution, execution, execution. It's very, very important that we acknowledge that in the past, ASEAN has been slow on execution. And this year, we want to change that. We want to make sure that ideas turn to reality as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri Nazir, for your valuable insights. I think we totally agree with you. Execution, execution, executions. And CABC is really happy to work with you and support you in that executions for the ASEAN-BAC programs in 2025 as well. And now we move into the next segments of today's webinar. It has been a fascinating discussion so far on the economic priorities under Malaysia 2025 Chairship and also the programs under the ASEAN-BAC 2020 in 2025. And now it's time for our Q&A sessions where we get to hear from you, our audience, and dive deeper into some of the key points raised by our esteemed speakers. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that you can also submit your questions using the Q&A box in the platform or just in the chat box in the platform. And we encourage you to ask questions that are relevant to the topics discussed today. And yeah, I think with that, I will open the floor to the audience. Is there anyone who would like to ask their questions? You might type your questions in the chat box or just raise your hand and convey your questions. Maybe sometimes because people could be shy in like asking their questions. I will start first and hope that will like trigger more questions from the audience. I think my question is for Tan Sri Nazir Razak. I think thank you very much for the invitations for all the businesses to also work with you and also like to call you an ASEAN-BAC team in case you would like to do collaborations with you. You mentioned earlier that you would like to do the B2B connects and on the agriculture part, for example. I think like there are more, Canada is also very big on agriculture as well. And there are more Canadian business on agriculture who are really excited about like increasing their business activities and also trade in the regions. In that case, could you enlighten us on how the Canadian businesses on agriculture could work with you or like join the B2B programs that you have on your priorities?
Yeah, thank you, Rama. I think the reality is that companies need to meet companies in the right sector. And big gatherings are not the best for this. So a couple of things we offer is, one is we had recently a Philippines agriculture delegation to Malaysia, and we lined up all the Malaysian agriculture companies. We had site visits and we had bilateral meetings, etc. And those actually resulted in some deals. The first one I announced just now about the durian. So if there is a Canadian agriculture delegation coming to Malaysia, I would be happy to line up the Malaysian agriculture companies. And I think the other ASEAN-BACs would also happily do the same. Two is at the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit, which will be in early November this year. I welcome all of you to come, and I will give you the assurance we will do our level best to create the right industry or sector platforms for you to engage. Certainly, we will introduce a new level in terms of arranging meetings this year. We will have an app, a bit like, for those of you who are familiar with World Economic Forum, we will have the similar type of app so that you can pre-arrange meetings and we will provide the meeting rooms, etc. for you. So I think hopefully that is going to be a kind of ASEAN version of Davos this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri Nazir. I think it's very helpful to know because I believe there were more Canadian delegation who are coming to the region. In fact, a week ago or so, we actually facilitated B2B meetings for delegation from Atlantic Canada, and some of them are also agriculture companies. They are coming to Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam. They are also looking forward to do these B2B meetings. I believe there will be more delegations coming to ASEAN moving forward, so we will definitely in contact with you in case we need to seek your support and also ASEAN-BAC support. We receive a comment from Richard Godford from Alberta. It mentions that the idea of an ASEAN common visa or at least a simplified regional process is very interesting. And the question is, what is the progress on this to date, given the vast differences in regional visa regulations for both tourism and business visitors? I believe since the question is related to like visa progress on visa development, I believe this question would be best to be addressed by Ambassador Sarah. Ambassador Sarah, would you like to provide the answer to this question?
Well, at this point, I do not have much knowledge on this proposal with regard to a common visa. So perhaps I don't know, maybe Tan Sri, you also have any information with regard to that?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Richard. I think the short answer is that at ASEAN-BAC, we are banging our heads on the wall against the wall on this as well. We think there's a lot of frustration on visas, but visas, as you know, is a very national thing. So what we're trying to do at the moment is to create this travel super app, and we're trying to connect the various national visa platforms onto this super app, and to make it easy for you to know what the rules are, visa rules are for each country, and to access the various visa application processes through this one app. That is the limit of our ambition at this point. Changing the visa rules and all that is currently way beyond my pay grade, and I'm not sure whether the governments are going to be prioritizing that in 2025.
Thank you, Tan Sri Nazir and Ambassador Sarah for the answer. We have another question from Dr. Nathan Sundram. So the question is, what has happened to the ASEAN Business Raffle Card? It's been on the back burner for many years. This is from Dr. Nathan Sundram, the CEO of Public Policy Asia Advisors.
Yeah, I can just respond by saying that we looked at the business, to have an ASEAN like an APEC travel card. We didn't think that it is a priority simply because travel between ASEAN countries is actually quite easy for ASEAN people themselves. The issue is more on the work permits, and in particularly countries like Indonesia and all that are quite strict on work permits. So this is how, and the only way to tackle it is the notion of the ASEAN business entity and the youth talent movements. Those are two priorities for ASEAN-BAC this year. So we are we're hoping that at least within groupings or companies, people can move freely. That is the agenda for 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri Nazir. Indeed, as ASEAN citizens, we do already have the privilege to travel around ASEAN quite freely. But yeah, we agree with you that the work permits will be another issue. So, is there another questions from the audience? Okay, I think. Oh, okay. There is another question from Nathan Sundran, the CEO of Public Policy Asia Advisors. ASEAN countries are vying for membership in BRICS. How will ASEAN maintain its cohesion in this regard? Why not invite BRICS to ASEAN Summit? I think this question is best addressed by Ambassador Sarah. Ambassador Sarah, would you like to take these questions?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I think for Malaysia and ASEAN in general, we are expanding our network with regard to collaboration, whether economically or also in terms of the political security fields. So I think BRICS should be seen as a complementary process, and it's a prerogative of each ASEAN member state to vie for partnership and or collaboration or membership in BRICS. So we look at it as a positive move to enhance the networking of ASEAN economically. And as you know, we are planning to have an ASEAN GCC plus China. So it's one of the ideas in terms of bringing ASEAN's economic collaboration and cooperation to another level. But so it's a start. But I think in terms of the question with regard to BRICS, it will add to and complement ASEAN's networking economically as well.
Thank you, Ambassador Sarah, for the answer. May I invite another question from the audience? Please feel free to just turn on your mic if you would like to do that, so you don't have to write your questions in the chat box also. Okay. We see no questions now. I think it has been a very great discussion so far. And thank you once again to all our distinguished speakers for your time and your contributions and the thought leadership that you have shared today. We are certain that your insight will play a critical role in advancing trade and investment in ASEAN and Canada and building stronger connections between the ASEAN region and Canada. And to our audience, thank you for your active participation and engagement in today's webinar. We hope that you found the discussion insightful and that you live with a deeper understanding of ASEAN priorities for 2025 and beyond. Before we close, we would like to remind you that the discussion continues and we encourage you to stay connected with the Canada-ASEAN Business Council and our esteemed partners as we all work together to unlock new opportunities for trade and investment in the ASEAN regions. Thank you once again, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors. Have a great day all. Thank you.